Is the microphone working? Cool. All right, so now we're recording. We know what happened today. All right, so there's that. You're going to get this video every day. Just remind me if I forget. And then also, I will give you everything I do today as well. All these slides, you'll get them as a PDF. All the code that I write in the beautiful Jupyter notebooks, you'll get on Canvas. Hopefully you found the code from ClassLink already. Okay, so yeah, just shout out if you have any questions. I like to run my lectures like a little discussion, especially because this is a smaller class. It's great. We have plenty of time for that this semester. Yeah, so today I'll just introduce myself in case you have never heard of me. We'll talk about the boring stuff and try to stay awake, and then I will give you a little bit of data science. All right, I'm excited. Hope you are too. So one slide about me, and then we can move on. So hello, everybody. My name is Lawton Nichols. I use he, him pronouns, and like I like to say every semester, I will respond to whatever you want to call me. Call me Mr. Nichols, call me Dr. Nichols, call me Professor Nichols. This is a new laptop. I have to learn how to write on this screen. But honestly, I'd prefer it if you just dropped all these and called me by my first name. Please call me Lawton. I want to earn your real respect. I don't want your fake respect with these titles, right? So yeah, a little bit about my background. Academically at least, is I went to Fresno State for my undergrad, not too far away, right? And then I went to UCSB, UC Santa Barbara, for grad school, go Gauchos. And every one of my degrees, I got every degree you can get in computer science, not data science, all right? Because data science didn't exist back then, essentially, as a major at least. So yeah, I have computer science degrees, not too far off from data science though, all right? And I like to do human things. I like to cuddle with my cat, Lonzo, first of all. His name is Lonzo. This is him as a kitten. I named him after Alonzo Church, who was the PhD advisor of Alan Turing, if you've heard of him at least. He's the one who trained Alan Turing. All right, so even cooler. Very important man. And yeah, so I named my firstborn son after him. And in addition to that, I like to do normal human things as well. I like to go running. I like to dance. I take swing dance lessons every Tuesday night. You guys should come. Fresno Swing Dance. And other things too that you'll get to know me better with as the semester progresses. So yeah, that's the one slide about me. Nice to meet you all, or nice to see you again. And I also like to have this slide every semester too. So like, we live in these weird, trying times. We will get through it together. All right. So I'm going to give you a lot of help. Your peers will be here to help as well. The tutorial is here to help. Tutorial center is here to help you. We will get through this class, through this semester, through the end of 2025, one way or another, together. Okay? So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Are we ready to very quickly go through the boring things so that we can both stay awake? All right? I'm going to go over the syllabus. Please make sure you've read that syllabus. That's on you to read. But I will give you the highlights at least. All right? So first of all, this is an in-person class, and so I am required by the school to take attendance. It does not make sense to take attendance at a college, but apparently we have to. So I'm forced to do it, and we'll do it soon. So you got to be here. My drop policy is pretty lenient. If you miss 3 classes in a row consecutively, then you're not coming anymore, and I'll be forced to drop you then too. So also, if you miss the first class, I have to drop you, but you're all here now, so at least you guys are not going to get dropped for that. And yeah, I don't know what Canvas says, like when the lab time for this class starts, because there's a lab portion to this class. Don't trust it. Whenever I'm done talking, that's when lab time begins. All right, so that's how that's going to work. And you are of course allowed to leave if you're done with everything I've given you. Okay, so that's how I'm going to run the class at least. Also, I like to run it as a little discussion. All right, so we'll get into that later. But those are the requirements imposed upon me, honestly. Let's next talk about expectations, just to get it out of the way, understand what we're getting ourselves into, right? This is a 4-unit class. So this class is called Data 8. This is the first time we're teaching the class. You guys are the guinea pigs. It's so exciting. I hope you like it. At least you can influence the class technically by telling me what you like and what you don't like for the next round.
Pizza parties.
Okay.
We all like pizza parties, right?
I mean, I like money. Maybe we can fundraise somehow. Well, if you guys know any companies, we can like do data science explorations for them, and they can give us pizza parties. How about that? So yeah, this class is called Data 8 because it is a copy essentially of a Berkeley course called Data 8. If you want to go search that, like we're going to use their textbook, we're going to use their assignments, more or less. All right, and so you are going to be essentially UC Berkeley students for this class for the semester, with everything that comes with that. All right, it's a very good school, yes? So understand that you're going to be expected to do that kind of work. All right. But of course, I'm going to be here for you. We're going to help. It's going to be great. The nice thing is this is like a pro and con list almost. The nice thing is that our semesters are 18 weeks long. Berkeley semesters are 15 weeks long. So we can stretch it out. That's kind of nice. All right. So we have longer to do our assignments and stuff. So just keep in mind that you are going to do Berkeley levels of work, and that shouldn't scare you, right? Anybody can go to Berkeley. And this class will transfer there in theory, okay? Because we're doing the same stuff. Also, remember the units rule. So this is a 4-unit class, which is supposed to mean that you're spending 4 hours. Units means hours. 4 hours in class a week is a little stretch because lab doesn't count. 1 hour of lab does not count for an hour of units. It doesn't make sense to me. But that's a thing. Spending 4 hours a week in class, and then you're supposed to double that, and you spend that much time, 8 hours then for us, outside of class, studying, doing assignments, whatever you need to do. Okay, so just remember that that's the rule. That's why units exist. That's why 12 units is a full-time student, stuff like that. So now you know where that's all coming from. So expect to hit that amount some weeks. Okay, just want to make sure you understand. And also, finally, data science did not exist when I was a college student. So when I was getting my degrees, I got them in computer science. Data science, I'll tell you a little bit about it later. It's a weird combination of programming, so computer sciencey stuff, plus statistics, so mathematics and things. I got a minor in math, but I did not get a data science degree. All right, so if anything, that just means I'm going to work harder than a Berkeley professor this semester trying to get everything working for you and get myself up to speed as well. But it'll all work out. I don't want to scare you away or anything. I'll be here to help. Your peers will be here to help. This is going to be a nice little tight community. It's wonderful. Okay, so yeah, that's expectations. And again, if you have any questions about anything, just shout them out. I'm happy to respond. We can be derailed as much as possible today. All right. So are we ready for the syllabus? Hopefully we already looked at it, but I'll give you the highlights. We'll go to the important part. So here, boop. So hopefully you saw that, I guess yours isn't black and white mode. So hopefully you saw that when you go to our home page, none of these pages you can click on yet until you go to the modules page, and I'm forcing you to look at everything, okay? Just for accountability's sake. So you got to go here and then you view all the things to unlock the next modules and stuff. But eventually you'll get to the syllabus. And here it is. Let me know if I made any typos or anything. I will scroll to the part that you probably care about. So let's talk about your grade in this class. In theory, this adds up to 100. I tried to do the math. So, okay. There are going to be a few different kinds of assignments that I'm going to give in this class. They're going to be called homeworks, labs, and projects. They're modeled after the Data 8 class at Berkeley. So there are slightly fewer labs than homeworks. And so I guess that means that labs are those are the weightiest thing in your grade, more or less. All right. So 25% of your grade is going to be from these things called labs. 25% is going to be from these things called homeworks. More or less, they look the same. But I say that labs are slightly more important than homeworks in theory. So there's that. And then there will also be some projects that I'll let you guys work on in pairs, 3 projects total, to just hammer home all the things I'm trying to teach you and experience what it's like to be a real data scientist, stuff like that. So that's already over half of your grade, all right? And then a very easy 5% of your grade are these things called check-in surveys. Did we do those? I think I released the first one right here, check-in survey week 1. So this is just me forcing you to psychoanalyze yourself each week. After the first one, I'm just asking you to introduce yourself for the first check-in survey. But after that, I'll be asking you questions like, what are you struggling with? How do you think you could improve? What resources can you identify to get yourself where you need to be? And so it's helpful for me to see where things are going wrong, what I can help with, and then also it helps you figure out what you need to do to improve. All right. So I think it's a win-win. It's a very easy 5% of your grade. Just every week I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself and you'll answer. Okay. So there's that. And yeah, the rest is from tests. So I'm very happy about this. I don't have any requirements. I made this class. So we will have 1 midterm instead of the standard 2 in all my computer science classes. I'm very happy about that. So there will just be 1 midterm in this class about halfway through the semester. So there's 18 weeks. So I'll try to have it around week 9. Okay. That's when it will be. We'll talk about that as it gets close. And then finally, the last 20% of your grade will be the final exam. Just make sure you learn something. All right. So that's our grade breakdown. In theory, that adds up to 100. All right. So we are an in-person class, so there will be a date for our final exam. Let's go look at that. Hopefully I read off the table correctly. If I did, it's supposed to be this, right? Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the Monday of finals week. So we're just going to knock it out, get it out of the way. It'll be December 8th from same time as class. So it starts at 3 p.m. and then final exams are supposed to be an hour and 50 minutes. So it's slightly less time than normal class time. Okay. So that's when our final exam will be. You take it and you're going forever. Okay. That's when that should be. And yeah, in addition to that, I will give at least a letter grade's worth of extra credit. I'm going to cap you off at a letter grade's worth of extra credit throughout the semester. Okay. So I'll give extra credit assignments. In addition to that, there's also the wonderful ACM club on campus. Have we all heard of that? Have we looked into that? Have we joined the ACM club Discord yet? So I'll show that to you in just a second when we get to Discord stuff. But the ACM club is kind of like the computer science club on campus, and computer science and data science, they go hand in hand. All right. So they're going to give a bunch of workshops throughout the semester for like, sometimes it's just like you hang out. Sometimes it's you're going to learn a topic. And I think it would be very nice for you guys to go to them and potentially learn things and interact with your peers. Question?
How would we like just show you that we're there?
There's usually a sign-in sheet, but if there isn't, like just send me a selfie with like the slides in the background, like whoever's the president this semester or whatever. We'll find a way. Okay. Yeah, good question. Usually there's a way to mark that you've been there, and if there's no way, just like send a picture or something. We'll figure it out. Okay. But I want to give you credit, so I'll give you half a percentage point of extra credit for going to any of those. I think it's useful, even if they just play board games or something. It doesn't matter. Like you're interacting with your peers, and I think at least somebody's going to talk about data science or computer science, so it's worth it. Okay. So yeah, I'll give you that, and I will cap you off at 10%. I'll give you probably more than 10% worth of extra credit, but you get maximum that. Okay. So yeah, that's the grade breakdown. This may be the most important slide to you and part of the syllabus to you for the day. So are there any questions about this? Does it make enough sense? All right. So another thing that if you've never taken a class with me, you may not like, but I promise it's worth it, at least for me. So I have a weird due date policy for this class, all right? So all assignments, except for the check-in surveys, which I'll have them be due at 5:30 on Fridays, every assignment in this class is going to be due at 5 p.m. on the day that it's due, okay? So keep that in mind. And the reason I do this is because when things go wrong, like this is a technical class, you're going to be working with programs, and the programs sometimes don't work, all right? So I just want to be awake when you're having the technical difficulties close to the due date, all right? That's the reason for this, and it happens so much that's why I do this, okay? So just keep that in mind. I'll be having office hours a lot of days around the due date time, so it's perfect, okay? So that's why I do that. It's my due date policy, though I do make some exceptions for certain students, all right? So if you work at least half-time, all right? If you work 20 hours or more per week, school does not count, though. If you are taking, 20 units or whatever, that's your fault, right? But some of us, we got to work, and so I'll give you some extra time if that applies to you, okay? So there's that. And if you work at least full-time, so 40 hours or more per week, or you do something that is the equivalent of a full-time job, like you care for a child, something like that, then I will give you an extra 15 hours. So if it was this one, your due date really is midnight. If it was this one, your due date becomes 8 a.m. the next day. So you can either stay up late or wake up early, whatever works best for your schedule to do the assignment and get it in. And hopefully we can all agree that the students that fall into these categories deserve that extra time, right? So just let me know if any of that applies to you. We'll make sure you're in the right spot and everything's nice and peachy. And I think that's all that I wanted to say about that. Just keep in mind that these are for assignments. I'm not going to give you extra time on an exam. We're all going to take exams at the same time. I guess it'll be in class because this is just nothing but an in-person class this semester. Okay, does that make sense? Any questions about that? So it's a weird thing if you've never taken a class with me or a professor that's done this before, but I promise that at least for me, it's totally worth it. Okay, so yeah, we're pretty much there. A couple more slides of just important topics. This is all in the syllabus somewhere. I will also accept late assignments. So I'm decently lenient. Hopefully you agree. I'll accept late stuff up to the last day of instruction. That's the Friday before finals week starts. All right. So I'll accept late assignments up till then. So if you miss one, I want you to learn things. So do it, and I'll give you some credit. All right. Emphasis on the some credit though. So the second it's late, then you missed a deadline and I have to give you some sort of penalty. So I'm going to give you 50% penalty the second you turn something in late. Okay, so I think that's a good trade-off. 50% is much better than a 0, right? So it would be nice for you to get things in, even if you don't get them in on time, for that extra credit, as well as learning things, right? So yeah, that's that. My late submission policy. And then I'm also going to drop some of your lowest scores. There's a number, I forget, it's like 2 of the homework, 2 of the left, something like that. It's on the syllabus somewhere. Go find it if you haven't already. But I'll drop some of your lowest scores so that if something goes wrong one week, like, it doesn't kill you. All right. It's like it never happened. Hopefully you'll take advantage of the due date or the late assignment policies and complete it late for half credit. But that's another thing that I do. Okay, so I think that's most of what I wanted to say. Have we checked out the textbook already? It's free. It's online. It's wonderful. There's a link on our homepage. But I've looked at it so much over the summer. I know what it is. It's called inferentialthinking.com. It's a textbook that is online. All right. And so I'm going to ask you to read some chapters every week or so. Like, we're going to start with this one. Like, most of my lectures will follow the chapters. All right. Though I'll try to spice things up when I can, but they have very good data sets. And so, yeah, we're going to learn essentially chapter 1 today, if we can. And I'm going to ask you to read it as well. But I think this is a good textbook, and it's nice that it's free as well. Okay, so that's our textbook. It's wonderful. No excuse for not reading it, right? It's already on the internet for free. So there's that. Again, just shout out if you have any questions about anything. And then we're almost there. We're almost to the end of the boring stuff. Let's next talk about Discord. All right, have we all joined the Discord, the class Discord? So there's an invite link on our homepage or on our Canvas modules page. It's a wonderful place. And this is where I want you to go to interact with me. All right. So here, this is Lawton's class. This is our server. When you join it, when you join our Discord, you're only going to have the welcome channel and the guide channel available for you. Go and scroll to the tippy top of the welcome channel. Click the 100 emoji to add the student role, which is going to unlock like these channels, like the general random announcements channel. You'll get those after you do that. And then you'll click the bear to add the Data 8 role, and that's going to give you the Data 8 channel. It's brand new. Exciting. So we're going to get that, and that's where you can interact with your peers, all right, and ask questions specifically about this class. I think that'll be fun. So yeah, take advantage of that, and also like keep scrolling, add your pronouns, stuff like that. And then down here as well is the ACM Club's Discord, so you can click to join that. And they have a workshops channel on their Discord, this one, where they will announce the workshops that you can go to get your extra credit. Okay. So I think that's what I wanted to say about all that. Yeah, so that's Discord in a nutshell. This Data 8 channel is like where you're going to interact with your peers, and everybody can see what you ask, all right? So I do want you to use your judgment. Don't, like, give answers away, okay? So I trust you all, you're adults, right? So just don't share a ton of things, like an entire answer publicly. If it's just like a couple lines of code, that's fine. But the second it involves like a huge chunk of an answer, that's when it doesn't, like, I don't want you to share that, because then, like, you've given away an answer, and that's, like, nobody's learning at that point, right? So just know when to not do that. So when you have, like, something that's should be kept private so that it doesn't give too much away, you have a question about something that, like, involves a ton of code or something, ask me or go to the tutorial center, come to office hours, something like that. You can send me a private message. You can, like, click my name and message me. I cannot right-click myself and message me, but, like, you can message the bot or something, like there it appears. All right, so you can send me a private message on Discord, and that's where I would prefer it if you sent me stuff. So if you ever want to talk to me, highly prefer it if you would talk to me on Discord rather than Canvas or email. If you can handle it, if you can avoid those things, I would appreciate it, because it's very easy for me to see, like, on the left side it'll give me notifications and I can see who I haven't responded to. It's very easy for me to miss something in Canvas or in email. My email is disgusting as a teacher. Yeah, so that's our Discord. Are there any questions about that? Make enough sense? Definitely join that. It's a wonderful place. And then, yeah, as far as getting help from me privately, potentially, let's talk about office hours. So you guys are so lucky. This is at least when I want to have my schedule. It's right here. We'll see if things change, because I might get, like, meetings assigned to me. We'll see. But here is when I want to have my office hours, these green rectangles. So right after both of our classes, I will be walking to my office and I can help you there with more stuff if you'd like. Okay, so it'll be there. These three will be in my office as well as on Zoom because I have online classes as well. And then on Friday will be Zoom only. All right, if you want to come to a Zoom office hour, you click this link or this link. Either one, it'll take you to the same place. All right, so or you can just come to my office. Okay, so that is my office hour schedule, at least when I want it to be. Just check this before you come, just to make sure they're the same. But at least in theory, nobody can change these because nobody likes to meet after 5 p.m. anyway. All right, so yeah, that's when I want my office hours to be. Please come to them. And then I think I have just one more slide of logistical information. I just want to talk about getting help, right? So we've talked about resources already. So we've got the Discord, we've got office hours. You can send me private messages. There's also the tutorial center on campus. It's on campus. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. If you've never been there before, they will be able to help you, even though we've never taught this class before. There will be computer science tutors who can understand Python well enough because Python's the language we're going to learn in this class. All right. So ask for help when you get stuck. Don't just stare at your screen for 2 hours like I did as an undergraduate at Fresno State. It's not worth it, all right? I want you to not be like me. So what I like to do is set a little time limit, all right? So let's say you've been working on a lab or a homework, and you have been staring at the screen for 30 minutes. A 30-minute timer goes off, all right? The second that happens, I would like you to reach out with a question, all right? Ask a public one on our Data 8 channel if you can, because then if it's like 3 a.m., I might not be awake, but your peers might be. Or come to office hours, send me a private message, whatever you need to do. Somebody is going to get you over your current hurdle and onto the next one. All right. So let's say that 30 minutes is a good number. All right. If you're stuck for 29 minutes and then you see the light, that's kind of how programming works. So look forward to that if you haven't before. But let's say 30 minutes though. Don't know what to do still. Haven't made any progress at all. That's when I want you to ask a question and get help, please. All right. You can't do everything alone, all right? You're going to be working collaboratively in industry anyway. So this is practice for that, okay? So yeah, just want to make sure you're getting help when you need it. And I think that brings us to the end of our logistical information slides. Are we all still awake? Yay. Any questions about any of that now that you've seen it all? All right, and hopefully you will enjoy this class. I will do my best. It's the first time I've taught it, so it's all new stuff for me. So let's talk about next. We have to take attendance still, so let's do that, all right? So I'd like you to now go to our wonderful class website. If you haven't been before, it's on our Canvas homepage. I've got a link there. Or you can just type it in, class website. It's www.lautensclass.com. Please go there, all right? And when you get there, it will just bring you to a login screen. So it's www.lautensclass.com. Let me just, before I bring it back and show you what it is. Boop. It'll bring you to this login screen, and I've made you all accounts. All right, so your account right now is your last name without any spaces or hyphens or whatever, all lowercase, and an underscore, and then your student ID. So that's your full account username right now, and it's also your password. It's also your default password. Hopefully you'll change it after you log in, all right? So if this, for example, if this is your last name, this is your student ID, this would be your username and your password on the class website right now, all right? If this were your last name and this is your student ID, then this would become your login username and password on the class website, all right? So no hyphens, no accent marks, no spaces or anything. Just get rid of all that. Add an underscore, add your student ID, okay? Including any leading zeros. So all that stuff. So let me know if you can't log in. I want to make sure that we're all there. And then you'll go to the attendance link on that page. I have to start attendance still. It won't work yet, but just get ready for that, okay? I just want to make sure we can all log in, and I will wait for us to all be logged in, okay? This is very important, right? Because I have to drop you if you don't say that you're doing. So it's not going to work until I start out. Make sure it's all there first. What's your last name? Oh no, it's set to your username as well. So you're gonna just type this twice. That's your username and your password. Yeah, it's all. Yeah, so you can just copy and paste your username into your password. They're both set to each other right now. And then you can change it after you log in. Yeah. All right, everybody. Is everybody else on there? All there? All ready to take attendance so we won't get drunk?
No.
You're not? Okay. Let's get you in there. What's your last name? Oh, you're there.
Hey, go ahead, log in there.
Go on the computer.
All right.
I'm trying to get you.
Try to connect today.
There you go.
That's the.
You should just be able to do the FC16D get.
Yeah, I tried.
That's not working. I don't have to use it. Good timing. We're just doing attendance, so please go to the website as fast as you can.
See you guys. Yeah, it's. Of course.
Well, I'll just mark here. I'm gonna wait for this to restart. If that doesn't work, then I'll just try it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, just hang out and say hi while we're dealing with internet connectivity issues. But this is what we'll do at the start of class from now on. Question? I'll just mark it here. Oh, you did. Something worked. All right. For those of you who could
Yeah, I
not,
did too.
you got it.
Yeah, it asks, we need to be redirected.
Yeah, it does something weird like that. Cool. So yeah, try to get in there while I start attendance. All right. So this is what we're gonna do. So if you try to click something, it won't work yet. But I need to do this magical thing. I need to say, all right, date 8, we're taking attendance. So if I click the green button, in theory, you can now click any of those boxes. I won't even see which one you clicked, whatever you're feeling for the day, and mark yourself here. All right. And then if you're anxious like I am, you want to make sure you are marked here. You can go immediately to view my attendance on the homepage to see that you are indeed marked here today. All right. So do that while I wait for things. So were we all able to click something? You're still trying to log in. So I'll leave this running for a little while. Were you able to get on the class website? Perfect. So thanks. I'll leave it running, but I would like to move on if we can. All right.
What's the link for that?
Oh, here it is. www.wattonsclass.com. Any question?
I might be in it by myself, but I know for other like other science classes we usually use iBooks. How are we gonna do our homework? How are we gonna do our homework for this class?
I will tell you later. It's not going to be Zybooks.
Yeah.
There's no Zybooks. So I don't get to know that you read a chapter. That's not part of the assignments anymore. It's just like assignments based on the chapter now. And that's how that will work. Dun, dun, dun. All right. I think I'm ready to move on. So I'll mark you here later, but everybody else has been able to say that they're here?
Yes.
Cool. So yeah, I'll leave it open for a couple more minutes and I'll come around to you in a second. But let's talk about what I like to do in this class. I like to do what's called peer instruction a lot. I'm going to ask you guys questions. We're going to have discussions. It's a nice, small, close-knit class. It'll be great. I'll ask you little questions to answer during class, and I'll also split you up into groups to discuss something in more depth. A lot of the time, that's called peer instruction. All right, like you're talking to each other. Every single research study ever shows that you guys hate hearing me speak and you guys love talking to each other and you learn so much more that way. So it's a win-win. I don't have to talk. So we're going to do that. All right. It's worth it. Even if you're shy, I promise you're going to learn more this way. And you're going to meet your peers who you may be working with one day. Who knows? So we're going to have our first in-class exercise question on the next slide. And you can abbreviate in-class exercise to ICE. And our mascot here is a bull called the Crush. And I think we don't have a real name for him or her, them yet. So I think there's going to be like a poll this semester where we name the Crush. I don't know. We'll figure this out. But obviously that means I'm going to call our in-class exercises crushed ices. Hee. So what I'd like you guys to do is go to, after you've said that you're here, please go to the by clicker page. So you can click A through E, and I'm going to start one of those questions, right? By clicker is a pun for iClickers. If you had those before, it's like you pay $50, $60 probably by now to click A through E, all right? So what I'd like you to do, please, is tell me what your major is, because I don't get to know. The school doesn't tell me. And while you're clicking something, I'll do it whatever you got going.
What's the bachelor again?
Same as usual.
Oh. Low.
Tell me what your major is, please, and we'll see. We'll see together. We got data science is finally a major. So I assume 0 of you are data science majors by now, unless you just enrolled. All right, you're gonna go to 10 take times, like anything. Go back to home. Go to 5 right now, and then you can do this one.
Right.
All right, and so now we've definitely all done attendance now, right? We're all marked here. I'm gonna stop that, and then we'll look and see what our majors are. Whee! Cool. I'm gonna stop this. So attendance is now over. Yay, we did it. All right, so back to this one. Have we all said what our major is already? All right, so let's see. And boop. It looks like, oh, we have some data science majors. That's so exciting. It's a brand new major. I didn't think people would learn about it in time. That's so cool. I'm very happy. A decent number of us are something with the word computer in it, which is probably the closest major to data science, other than data science, of course. No other engineers. Interesting. And then we got one other STEM person. Nice. No something else. No humanities majors here trying to dip their toes into data science, sadly. But yeah, I'm glad that you're all here, and your varied perspectives will make the class better. So it's glad that we got some spread. Nice. It's nice that I'm glad. So, all right, the next thing I want to ask, begin new question. We're going to learn the programming language called Python in this class. Have we heard of that? Have we ever programmed with Python before? Please tell me. If I get sick one day, could you take over? I assume we're already on the page, so I don't have to wait too long, right? Nice. I did click start, right? Yeah, let's see. Are we well versed in Python? That's a nice skewed graph. Nice. So I expect the answer to be A, right? I'm gonna teach you from scratch everything. So don't worry about it if you picked A. But some of us are a little bit more advanced. We've seen it a little bit, and we've seen it recently, in fact. Nice, the one person. So yeah. B and C people help the A people. Yeah. Perfect. And then finally, data science, which I will define in detail in just a few minutes, is a combination of programming and statistics. So have we ever taken a statistics class before? Again, the answer can be A. There are no prereqs to this class. I'll teach you everything you need to know. But I want to see where we are, at least, at the start. Whee! All right, I expect the answer to be, oh, but some of us, a slight majority have taken one before. I know I took AP statistics in high school, and then I took one statistics class in undergrad, so maybe one of those is you. But yeah, none of us have taken one recently, and that's fine. I'll remind you of things if you've seen it before, or if you haven't seen it before, I'll teach it to you from scratch. That's the whole point. All right. So yeah, nice. Thank you for that. So I think that's all I want to say for these intro slides. Are we ready to actually talk about data science? Excited? I'm excited. Let's do it. So I'm gonna go back to the home page here. I'm not gonna go there anymore. Close this syllabus. So I'm gonna open up some new slides now. I gotta remember to give you these ones when we're done, though. We'll get to that. And which folder do I want to be in? This one. So all of my lecture slides are gonna be like associated with the chapter of the book. So this is gonna be chapter 1 of the book lecture slides. All right. So I would like you, like on this second slide, I say like what we're learning. There will always be some assigned reading, and it will always go with the book. So this is now, it's time for you to read chapter 1. All right. So please go and read that when you can. The sooner the better, I guess. Honestly, read the whole book if you have time. If you're bored. So yeah, this is going to be about chapter 1. It's just an intro to data science, like what it is. Not a lot of slides because I'm just going to be showing you stuff. All right, I'm going to be showing you code that I don't expect you to understand yet. I'm gonna speak data science to you today. You just be a sponge, all right? You don't have to worry about understanding it yet. I'm going to teach you all these things that we're about to see in great detail later. It's like a sneak peek into the first half of the class, kind of. But we'll get there, all right? So I am excited, and I do want you to follow along, though, so I'll give you an opportunity for that in a second, all right? So I think I should define what data science is, all right? So what in the world is data science? It's a very, very recent field, all right? It's fun. I'm excited that we get to explore it together. What it is, it's a combination of, we've got computers that are fast these days. We've got large data centers. We can throw computational tools at problems and crunch numbers very quickly, which is nice. Couldn't do that with humans a few decades ago, right? Before computers became popular. We're taking that and our programming abilities, and we're gluing it together with statistics, all right? Essentially, we're applying statistical methods at like a large scale over a lot of data, and that's all data science is, all right? You've heard like buzzwords like AI, machine learning. Honestly, they're all so closely related that the lines are very blurry, all right? So like if you have a Spotify account, if you have a TikTok account, like you're getting things recommended to you, it's data science, what they're using to do it, right? They've got a bunch of data. They know they know all the TikToks that you've liked before, and they've essentially put you, the user, in some weird multidimensional space. You're over here, all right? And you don't have to understand anything of what I'm saying right now, but like this is the idea, right? You're over here, and they find other users that have liked similar things that are close to you in this large multidimensional space, and then they're gonna, like if this person over here close to you likes another video that you haven't seen yet, they're gonna recommend that one to you because you guys are similar in some way. That's all they're doing, right? It's just statistics, it's math. And then you've got a lot of data and you're crunching the numbers really fast. That's all it is, all right? You can learn AI very easily once you take this class, okay? So I'm not gonna claim that I'm gonna make you an expert, like you're gonna learn the basics in this class. This is the first class you'll take, but like, I do wanna kind of hype it up, right? It's a cool idea, it's cool thoughts. So in this class, at least, what you'll learn how to do is by reading the textbook, by doing these assignments, you're going to learn how to ask questions about data and answer those questions, all right? Because that's what a data scientist does. Like that's essentially what TikTok and Spotify are doing. Like, all right, I have all these songs that this person likes. The question that they're asking and answering is like, what other songs that they haven't heard yet will they like? Yeah, that's it. It's simple once you think about it that way, I think. All right. So yeah, the devil's in the details, of course, but like you'll learn how to do this at a basic level. Okay. So sometimes the data is incomplete. Like, I don't know, you filled out forms before. Sometimes people forget to give their last name, their state of residence, stuff like that. And so sometimes you won't have complete data. You'll have to fill it in. Usually in this class, we'll have filled in data, but in the real world, that happens. And so when you're asking these questions and answering them, you're not usually sure. Like, you don't know if what I like is what you like, right? Even if we're closely related in the TikTok algorithm. And so sometimes they get it wrong. And so there's uncertainty behind everything we try to do in this class, inside of statistics, if you've taken a statistics class before. But at least we'll be able to quantify our uncertainties. Like, there is between a 25.1 and 25.7% chance that we did the right thing. Something like that. We'll be able to say that kind of stuff. All right. And that's useful. It's useful knowledge, useful to be able to say that with a 95% confidence that is the correct range of values. Stuff like that. All right, so that's important. And we'll get to, instead of using calculators, we'll use programming to make that happen. All right, we'll also build pretty visualizations. We'll make pretty graphs to understand data that was given to us, because that's usually the first step. We don't even know what to ask until we know what it looks like. So we'll learn about that. And yeah, essentially you will learn in this class things that data scientists do day to day at a basic level. Right? It's the first class. You're not gonna be writing TikTok recommendation algorithms after you take this class, but you could easily take more data science classes and learn that kind of stuff. All right. So that is my motivational speech for the day. Are there any questions about that? All right. So I want you to follow along if you can. So I want to show you something. I'm going to teach you how to get it installed once we go to our lab section time. But before then, if you could please go to our Canvas and go to this Jupyter lab. That's how you pronounce it. I used to think it was Jupyter, because like pi for Python, but no, they want to pronounce it as Jupyter. It's invented by Berkeley people, actually. So I'll teach you how to install this desktop application later. It takes a while, though. Instead, I want you to look at the very bottom, and I've given you something that you can use to follow along with me in class, because these computers, when they get restarted, they delete everything that you've ever done. And the IT people have better things to do right now than to install this for us, sadly. So if you can, please click this wonderful link that will take us to a place called Jupyter Lab in an online version. I've got my in-person like desktop version I'll be using in a second, but this will be your quick get something done version. Though keep in mind, like if you work on a lab doing this, keep in mind that the second you close this tab, everything you did goes away. Right, it's temporary. So that's why you want to install it and work on your local computer. But when we are pressed for time like we are today, this is useful. All right, temporary. So just like read the fine print there. It's important. So can I quickly zoom in? Boop. I'll click that a couple times. Beep. Okay, that's disgustingly slow. Let me make it at least a little bit bigger. Code, font size, theme. Yeah, let's make it like 24 pixels or something. I don't know. Where was I? Boop. Yeah, that's big enough. All right, cool. So this is called Jupyter Lab. It's a place. Have we all gotten there? We're able to get there. So it's just got a bunch of rectangles, and those rectangles are called cells, and you can put code there in addition to other things. Usually it's code. And on the right, there's a little trash can. You can delete everything that I had there. Just get it all out of there. So like this is your cell where you can put stuff, all right? And you can put Python code, all right? And here's how you use it. You can make as many rectangles as you want when you want to like do more things, but like let's do the first thing together. One thing that you can do with Python is use it like a calculator. So Python knows how to do math for you. So we can ask it to add like 2 plus 2, all right? So we've made this cell, and the way that we run it, one of the ways to run it at least, is like you've got it selected, it's blue. You can press the plus, or so not plus, the play button, and it will run that cell and produce output. It did it, yay, there's 4. If you want to do that faster, as you will want to do eventually, it's the shortcut for that is like run the cell and produce output. It's shift, hold shift and press enter. And I'll do it all for you. So that's math, cool. Were you able to do that? Yeah, so try that, play around. I've got, let's see. Let me do it, let me get settled in my own place here. I'm gonna make a new notebook. It's gonna be black on white, because why not? So I'm gonna do the same thing. Like 2 plus 2, shift enter, we got 4. Cool. All right. So you can do a bunch of stuff. Let's see, what do I want to do right now? I guess I want this to be like one of those teach a man to fish moments. So here is your first real crushed ice. where I'm going to ask you something. So I showed you how to do addition. I've not shown you how to do multiplication. You can maybe extrapolate. I would like you to figure out how to use JupyterLab, how to use Python, essentially. It's Python code. How will you compute 2 to the 5th power? All right? And I'd like you to help each other. But at the end of the day, like maybe this is one way you can do it, is multiply 2 5 times together. Figure out the multiplication operator if you want to do it that way. There is also a power operator, but like I have not taught this to you. There will be things that I will not teach you because there's not enough time. You have to learn how to search for what you need to do right now. So learn how to search Google and not ask ChatGPT, right? Because that's too simple. I want you to learn things. Try to figure out, how do I take a number to another power in Python? Go search for that. All right? And help each other. And I think I'll give you a couple minutes to try that. All right? So if you can, like, get with the people sitting next to you. Show them your way of calculating 2 to the 5th power. See if you guys agree. Try to find the power operator. Because one day you're going to want it, right? One day you're going to want something I haven't shown you, like, how do I do this in Python? I want you to learn the skills for how to search for it, because that's what programmers actually do all day long. They've forgotten things. And search for what they need to do. Oh, we calculate 2 to the 5th power. What is the answer? 2, 4, 8, 16. It's really 32 is the answer, right? So don't just type 32. Now I'll give you a couple minutes to play around. Do it with the multiplication. Do it with there is a power operation. So see if you can find it. All right, I'll give you a couple minutes to try. I don't want to learn that. If you're bored, try to use Python to calculate 2 to the 1,000th power. Python can do that very quickly, actually. There's no, if you've taken a computer science class before, there's like a concept of how wide a type is. Python can give you the arbitrarily sized numbers. Python does not care. Make it as big as the number as you need. So yeah, there's a couple ways. All right, cool. Would anyone like to tell me, a brave soul, how do you multiply stuff in Python? What is the symbol? Asterisk, yeah, it's a little star. So that's one way to do it, right? That's one way to do it. What was the power operator? Yeah, there's 2 ways. Ooh. So double star is the power operator without importing the math library. We search for that. Otherwise, you got to do pal25 or something after saying this weird thing. It was math.pow, right? Or was it just pow? I can't remember. It's just pow is built in. Cool. Even better. All right. So yeah, you have options. 3 options or more probably. If you want to, I guess you can simulate this with a bunch of addition. That's how we learned multiplication. But you have so many options, and the world is your oyster. All right. So that's what you're going to do. Let me go. I'm going to close this so I don't confuse myself. But that's where you can work today if you want to do stuff and play around. But we've got 2. I probably would use the double star because that's the quickest, least amount of typing for me at least. All right. By the way, is this big enough for us to see? Should I make the font bigger? Please yell at me if you want it bigger. I do not mind. We'll figure this out. And also, I know that the curtains are there with the glare. I think I can also turn these lights just off. I don't know how much that helps, but maybe it helps a little. I like to live in the dark. Okay, it's mostly just a bunch of examples for the rest of this time. Then we'll go to our lab time. So I'm just going to show you a bunch of stuff now. So in addition to numbers, Python can do text stuff. If you put text between quotes, that's how Python knows that it's not code. It's text that you want to be to mess with in some way. You can use either single or double quotes in Python for text as long as you're consistent. And as far as like Jupyter Lab goes, it will spit back out to you like what you're doing. Let me save this as chapter 1 stuff. So there's that. One interesting thing is 2 plus 2. If you forget to press the shift enter, it will give you another line. What can you do? You can do multiple things, that means, right? 2 plus 3, 4 plus 5. If I shift enter this, an interesting thing occurs, all right? So I only get the 9. What's happening is you've given a bunch of lines of Python code, and they're both getting executed, we say. They're both getting run. So 5 is being created. It's doing this math. It's also creating 9, of course. But the way that Jupyter works is it does everything of your previous lines, and then the result that it shows you is whatever the last line is. Only the last line is the answer that's given back to you, unless you do something special that I will eventually show you. Okay? So only the last line gives its result back, but you can use the previous lines to like build things up. I'll show that to you. Okay? So that's the goal there. It's only the last thing that you see. Okay? So with that, in addition to like code, you can type like pretty text formatting things called markdown. So like I'll make this a markdown cell, and I'll run that to make a pretty little dividing line because I want to talk about things other than this right now. All right? So yeah, that's like our intro to Python. Python can do math, work with text, stuff like that. And we're going to do a little bit of that today. All right? So are we ready for a more involved example? All right, cool. Hopefully you'll enjoy what we do. What do I want? So I'm going to try and parrot what's going on in the first chapter of the book. What we're going to do is we're going to take some text of books that are in the public domain so we can get them quickly and easily. So I've downloaded the text for Alice in Wonderland and also Pride and Prejudice, and we're going to analyze that text, all right, using data science tools that you learn in like the first half of the class. You do not have to understand anything I do until the end of the lecture now, all right? I'm just going to speak data science to you. You'll understand these words eventually. It's worth it for you to have heard these things before you know it, all right? I promise. So yeah, you'll be reading about this as well. So I'm going to type some code. I'm just going to copy and paste some code, honestly, so that you don't have to worry too much about it. But I'll try and explain what it is. I'm going to use the words to describe it, even though you don't know what these words mean yet. So what this is, it's called a function definition in Python. What it's going to do for us is take a file. It's called read file. That's its new name. It's going to take a file and give us back the text of that file, which is perfect because like in this data folder, I've got the text of Alice in Wonderland. Here it is. I've got the text of Pride and Prejudice. Here it is. So I have to give that to you, so you can't do that on your own in the browser right now because I haven't given you these files. But you could do this after class if you want. Like here's some text. Cool. And so I've got this function is what it's called to read that text, get it out of the file so that I can use it in Python. All right. Then I will use that function to take and get for myself the text of Alice in Wonderland. Boop. And I also want to split it up into chapters. I want to make some things called variables. So like here I am using this read file function. Give it, all right, here's where Alice in Wonderland is. It's in the data folder relative to me. It's in the data folder. It's called AliceInWonderland.txt with underscores. Get that. So like this now holds, this variable right here, it holds the text of Alice in Wonderland. Like if I type it, you can use the tab to autocomplete as well. So like text. If I hit shift enter, it'll just show me what's there. And like here's the entire text of Alice in Wonderland that I will now clear. So I can get back to where I was. Interesting. And then I'm also going to make another variable that holds the chapters, the individual chapters of Alice in Wonderland. There's a way to like take the text and split it. That's built into Python. You'll learn all these things eventually. All right. I'll split it by chapter because like the word chapter in all caps is what separates the chapters in the file. All right. And so what this is going to do is it's going to make a sequence of the text in chapter 1, then the text in chapter 2. It's going to split it up rather than the text of the whole thing. Just the text for chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 separately. All right, that's what I'm going to get. And that looks like this. If I shift enter that, again, it will be long, I think. I don't think I can show it to you very easily, but like, all right, there was that chapter, and then here is the next one. Like this is chapter 12, so this must be the end of chapter 11. All right, so it's all there. It's separated now. All right, clear? There's those. And let's do the same for Pride and Prejudice. I want to separate that by chapters as well. We're going to analyze the chapters. All right, we're going to see some cool stuff. We're going to make pretty pictures. And let me always try to remember to scroll up so that those of you in the back can see stuff. So I can do the same and make these variables for like read the text of Pride and Prejudice and then use that text to get the chapters. And whenever you make a variable, like there is no result. It doesn't show you an answer immediately because that was a disgusting thing to spit out anyway. So now we know. So now I've got the text separated by chapters for Alice in Wonderland and also for Pride and Prejudice. All right, we're going to do stuff with it. All right, and the way that we do stuff with it is by using pre-written code that other people made for us. Some nice smart people made. It's called a library. It's a place where you put pre-written code. It's called data science. All right, and I'm going to import that library so I can use everything. All right. Again, I don't expect you to understand any of these words. It's okay. You've heard them though. All right. What I can do now is this data science library gives me a way to make tables and display them in a pretty way and do analysis and stuff like that. All right. We're going to be using this. It's part of the book people made this for us. So I can make a table now of all the chapters in a pretty nice way, and I can analyze that table. So like it's going to be the basic building block of things in this class. We're going to make a bunch of tables, and so like I want to make a table with just one column. It's going to be called chapters, and each of the chapters in my Alice in Wonderland is going to go there. And so here's a table. It's a little small. Can I make that bigger? Content font size. Increase content font size. That apparently did nothing, sorry. But if you squint, this is a table now with a column called chapters, and each chapter holds each row holds a different chapter's text. Like this is chapter 1 stuff, this is chapter 2 stuff, chapter 3 stuff. And so I've got, apparently there's 12 chapters because it by default prints out 10, and then there's 2 left apparently. So there's ways to print out the whole thing. But like now I can put it in a table and I can make it pretty. I can analyze it, all right? One thing we can do is analyze the characters in the books this way, all right? So let me show you what I mean by that. There's another library that goes hand in hand. It's called NumPy. I can type that. We're going to say import NumPy as NP. Like we're going to give it a shorter name. It's going to be called NP for me now. And what I can do is I can take the Alice in Wonderland chapters and other things. I'm going to take those, NP dot, I say char or character, char.count. I would like you, please, go through the Alice in Wonderland split by the chapters and look for the text Alice, like between quotes, right? I'd like you to count how many Alices appear in chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. Does that kind of make sense? That's what I want to do. Because like right now, I've got the text of each chapter. What this does is it counts a certain piece of text within bigger text. That's what it's doing. So apparently in chapter 1, it's going to give me what's called an array, which is just a sequence of numbers. It's giving me back that, all right, the first one is chapter 1. There's 28 references to the word Alice in chapter 1, 26 in chapter 2, 23 in chapter 3, and so on. We're doing analysis of the book, right? So I think maybe Alice is an important character, and people are saying her name a lot, especially towards the end, right? So you can already glean information from this, can't you? It's kind of cool. We can ask about other more minor characters. Of course, Alice is the main character in the book. We can ask about like the Queen, very important character. We don't hear much about her at the start, do we? But eventually she becomes important for a while. See that? So we're all right, this is what a data scientist does, right? And with like important things, but like books are important. So in addition to that, we can make a table. We can make a table of like, all right, show me for each chapter how many times Alice is referenced, Queen is referenced, and then maybe another character. I will choose the rabbit. It's like, here are all their names, and I can make that big table. Boop. So again, you don't have to understand this, but I'm going to make a table with a bunch of columns. Like one column is going to be Alice's counts, and the Queen's counts, and the rabbit's counts over all of these chapters. Whee! And so here's what it looks like. I wish I could make this bigger for you. Let me try one last time. If it's not content, if it's not code, it could be UI, I really don't know. Settings editor. We got code, we got content font size. Let's change this to like 20 as well. That did nothing. That's so sad. I'll go back to 16. What if it's not UI? We can try it though. 20 pixels. Ooh. Yeah, that actually worked. Cool. It's a little weird looking everywhere else, though. But that's good enough for now. Let me make it a little bit smaller so that I don't mess with things. Can you be like 16? That is better for me. All right, so cool. We made a table. It's got 12 things in it. We only see the first 10 unless we ask for it in a different way. But what I've done is I made a table with a bunch of columns, right? One column is Alice's counts. One column is the Queen's counts. One column is the rabbit's counts. Does that make a little bit of sense? Like, you don't have to understand it yet, but like, you're kind of understanding it, right? That's the whole point. So like in the first chapter, like these are now rows, one per chapter, right? So this chapter 1, 28 Alices appear, 6 rabbits. 6 times we say rabbit. Chapter 2, 26 Alices, 4 rabbits. The rabbit does not appear in chapter 3, but he really appears in chapter 4, yeah? So we can gather some knowledge about these things, and we can make a little graph. That's probably the next step after we see these things. Like, how important are these characters relative to one another? Let me make a little graph for myself. Boop. And so here's how you do that. Again, you'll learn all these fancy incantations later. Like this first part is like, I'm going to import the code that somebody else wrote for me that draws pretty graphs, and I'm going to say, use this kind of style, please. And then here's the actual thing that's going to create the graph. So I've made this this nice little table. I also want to add a little like reference to which chapter I'm in. Like I'll add another column called chapter, like the first one's 1, then 2, then 3, because then I can draw a graph in order of chapters. So I'm going to add another column to this one with chapter in it, and I'm going to plot it with 1 through 12. And then this is one of the first things you'll learn how to do in this class, kind of. All right. So once we get to analysis land. So look, you can see the relative importance of all these characters. Like Alice is, of course, winning out because she's the main character. And then the queen gets to be very, very important in chapter 8, apparently, right? And then the rabbit comes and goes. Cool. All right. Another thing that you can do is sometimes this is not as easy to look at. It's very spiky. There's a way to get rid of the spikes, and some people prefer it. Instead of doing it this way and counting, like here's how like we're counting all the times that Alice appears in each chapter individually. We can keep track of like how many times Alice has appeared so far instead of doing it per chapter, and that's called a cumulative summation. So instead of this, I can say np dot cumulative summation of all of the. I guess I can use the counts one. Take Alice and all her counts, and this is what it's building. It's building an increasing sequence. So like the first chapter, 28 and 28, Alice appears 28 times. And then the difference between counting and this cumulative summation is now, this number is 26 plus 28. Like, all right, Alice has now appeared for the first 2 chapters 54 times. For the first 3 chapters, she's appeared 77 times. So it's always increasing. For the first 4 chapters, she's appeared 108 times. And so it's always going to be, it's a prettier graph to look at, honestly. So let me show that to you. We can do that kind of cumulative summations for all of these characters. Dun, dun, dun. And we can draw a pretty graph that way. Dun, dun, dun. And so there's a lot of code that goes behind that, but you kind of understand what's happening. And this is the kind of graph that you can make, which is probably easier on the eye. It's not as spiky, and you can kind of see by the like Alice has appeared this many times so far throughout the book. It's a cumulative summation. It's only going up, and you can kind of glean information now by not the spikes, but by the slope. Like in this chapter, from chapters something to something, the queen becomes very important. And honestly, that's my question for you. Can you read this graph? Like, which chapter does the queen become very important? It's one of these, right? It's kind of with the highest slope. Which is it? It went from like a small count to a bigger count very quickly. Yeah, so that's the question. So I think this is the biggest spike, right? It's the biggest jump. It's the biggest slope. So does that mean it's chapter 7 or chapter 8? That's the one that has it. Yeah. It's 8. You see it? It's going to be 8 because the count was small, like the total count of like what you see at each time is how many times the queen has appeared up to this chapter. And now once you get to 8, how many times has the queen appeared up to this chapter? It jumped up quite a bit. And so this is where the new data comes. Does that make sense? That's kind of cool to think about. And towards the end, you can also kind of see that these, like they're not the same, but the rabbit and the queen, they're increasing at the same kind of a rate, even though they're separated by some space. What might that mean about these characters? They're going up in the same amount. They're kind of following each other. They might be interacting. So maybe we haven't even read Alice in Wonderland, but we're understanding what these characters are doing just by these numbers, all right? And that's data science in a nutshell, right? That's kind of cool. Of course, we can do the same thing for Pride and Prejudice. So let's do that real quick, and then it'll be lab time. So before I get ahead of myself, I do want to say that our lectures are our class lengths are long, and so we're supposed to have like a break in between lecture and lab, and I'll make sure you guys get that, okay? So we'll talk about that soon. But let's do the same thing for Pride and Prejudice now. Let's analyze those characters, because maybe we've seen that. Why in the world? I'll type it this time. So I would like to make, please, a brand new table, a blank table, but I'd like to add one column to it with just the chapters of Pride and Prejudice. I can tab to get my stuff. So the chapters that have been separated. So it's just the text again. All right. So there's apparently 60 chapters in this book. I'll show you another way to figure that out if you can't like read it. By default, it prints out 10. So there's those. Let's ask about how many times some characters appear in Pride and Prejudice. All right. We've got a few key people. We've got, oh, you got to pick one word, kind of. So we'll do Elizabeth, Mr. Darcy, so we'll just use the name Darcy. We'll use Jane, we'll use Bingley, all right? So here are a bunch of people, and here's some fancy Python code that creates a table of a bunch of counts for them, all right? So again, I've done the same thing in chapter 1. This is a third-person narrated book, so apparently Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy are not mentioned at all in the first chapter. Crazy. But we got these two people. Cool. And then Elizabeth appears, chapter 2, and so on and so forth. You got all these people interacting, potentially. All right? So if you want to see the entire thing, it's counts dot, hey, show the entirety of yourself, please. So that's the difference. That's by default, it prints just the first 10, so you can get like a rough feel of what's going on. But if you want to see the whole thing, you say dot show. All right? Again, you don't have to understand any of this. I'm just talking to myself. All right? But like here are all the chapters of Pride and Prejudice, and you can kind of get a feel for like, oh, Mr. Darcy, whatever this chapter is, what is going on with you, sir? I think something important probably happens there, etc., etc. And you can draw pictures, and so let's draw that picture. So I like the cumulative summation. I think you'll get a feel for it. Like it's better. Like you can analyze things based on the slopes. But let's see, what else do I want to say here? Dun, dun, dun. Again, we can do like the counts. And honestly, let me go back and kind of explain what was happening with this count thing. So like we had the text of the chapters. And it kind of looked like this. Dun, dun, dun. Before I forget, like we had a bunch of sequences. We had sequences of text, right? We had the first chapter's text, like the blah, blah, blah. Then we had the next chapter's text. We had like blah, dot, dot, dot. Long chapters, right? With all the text in them. We had like the next chapter, chapter 3 started with hi, chapter 4 started with hello, dot, dot, dot. And we had all the text of those chapters. And then I asked, hey, Python, count how many times Alice appears in each of those chapters. Like what it did is it went through and it created a new sequence. Like, all right, this time it was, what was it, 28, 26 for the second chapter. Like it went through here and produced a number based on that. And that's what it was doing. It's taking one sequence, spitting out another sequence, kind of. And that's what we're doing. All right, it's 23, 31, da da da. So that's kind of what that does. And so back to where we were. I don't want to give away. I have not actually read Pride and Prejudice. I would like to have it, but I still need to read it. We've probably seen the movies though, but okay. Now we can do the same thing and also like put little titles for your graphs, and like you can make pretty things, and like it's color coded. It's very nice. What do we see here? Can anybody say, like, especially if you've seen the movie or read the book, like, what can we gather from this graph? Or even if you haven't read it or seen the movie, like what? One of the movies. Who's the most important character? Definitely Elizabeth, because her count, right? This is the count on the left, on the y-axis. She's increasing steadily, and she's always winning out, usually, right? Especially towards the end. Yeah? So she's talked about the most, clearly. What else can we say? Any thoughts?
13 being the high of everything.
Where do you see that?
We kind of overlap a lot.
Mm.
We're kind of always like either being talked about or talking to each other.
How do you know it's to each other? Like they're referenced at the same time, kind of. So like green,
Like to each other,
Green and
like
yellow.
from like 1 to 30.
they're
and
kind of
then-
following each other. Yeah. See how they're increasing at the same rates. Yeah. So either they're together, they're being talked about at the same time. Does that make sense? That's cool, right? Jane and Bingley, they get together, right? And Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy get together as well. Can you see that from this graph?
Jane being at the end.
Yeah, you see how they're following each other at the end? So like they're either together, they're being mentioned at the same time. Especially at the same rates as almost as well. Like that doesn't have to be the same. As long as it's like it looks the same is all that really matters. But like they're even close to each other in counts terms, in total count terms. That's cool. And then Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy, they're definitely together. Right here, right? See that? And then of course, like talked about at the same time together. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. Like Elizabeth's the main character; she's going to be mentioned more anyway. But like, as long as relatively that increases at the same rate, you can kind of see what's going on there. And so, like, you're learning stuff from data. That's what you do. Cool. All right. Question, yeah.
So currently residents are watching Game of Thrones, and
Mm.
there's a lot of characters in there that are referenced by different names.
Mm.
How would you add that into this data?
That's tough. So yeah, I'd have to teach you how to, instead of searching for just one thing, searching for them and their first name. Maybe they're mentioned with just their first name or just their last name or combinations of things. So there's ways to
They have,
count.
like, different titles too, so like that's like back in like the Renaissance age, for like there's kings and lords and all those things. So
Yep.
they have different senses like that too. Some have the same name, but it's like their same last name, but they're both lords of that house or something like that.
You might have to use AI. You have to train an AI on the book to like understand like, all right, who was actually being referenced by this word? Go look in the previous words to figure out who it was, and then add a count to the whoever it needed to be.
Yeah, 'cause I myself, I'm like confused watching the show most
Yeah.
of the time. I don't like rewatch every season.
Exactly.
I'm talking to. But I was just wondering, like, if this can do a book, I'm pretty sure it can do a show on any movie as well.
Oh yeah. So this one's probably easier. Like you can search for the first name of
Yeah.
Mr. Darcy or just his last name, stuff like that. Like there's a way to count that and then add them together. So like it meant the same person. So that's a thing. All right. So yeah, that's a great question. Other questions? Like we're learning stuff from data. Obviously, this is like not a data scientist wouldn't be staring at books like this, but maybe you could in your free time, right? Do with Game of Thrones. So we're ready for one more example. It has to do with the book still. All right. So what I'd like to do, just to end us off for the lecture part of today, is let's keep track of an interesting idea. I would like to count some things, and one way to count stuff is with this len. It's called a function. And say len, and give it something that is a sequence or like text, and it will tell you how long that thing was. So if I say len of, I made all the chapters of Pride and Prejudice way up here. It was just a big long sequence for the text, right? It kind of looked like this big long sequence. I can give that sequence to this len function. It can tell me how long it was. So you can also give it to text, and it'll tell you how long that was. Like, what was the length of the, what was it called? Pride and Prejudice chapters. Apparently there were 60. What's the length of the word hello between quotes? There's five characters there. So I can use that to do some cool stuff. Let's see. Do I want to do that yet? I guess one more thing before I go there is there's this thing called interactive plot. Sometimes, like this is just a picture. What this did is I generated a picture that you can, I guess, zoom in on. It might be a little pixelated though. There's another way to do it. It's called interactive plots. And you can like, this is something that you can then go and zoom in and like move around and like put your mouse over and tell you like the actual numbers that were there and stuff. So like that's kind of useful sometimes. So like you can turn this on, turn it back off. That's one thing I forgot to say. And now let's use len to do some interesting ideas. All right. So, I would like to make two variables. This equal sign makes a variable. All right. One called length A and one called length P. And it's going to be the following. This one has to do with A for Alice in Wonderland, P for Pride and Prejudice. So I'd like to do the following. I'd like to take all the chapters of Alice in Wonderland and Pride and Prejudice. I'd like to count how many characters are in each of those chapters. Like I'm going to call Len on each of those. Like, don't worry if you've never heard me. The word call is a weird idea. Don't worry if this is all confusing still. It's okay. But like you can read it and kind of understand it in theory. This is a little complicated though. You'll get there. So I want to take the length of every chapter, like how many characters are in it. And then I also would like to count how many periods, like the period character, how many times does that appear in the chapter? And that's kind of counting sentences. That makes sense? So I want to do that for Alice in Wonderland and for Pride and Prejudice. Count how wide the chapters are, how many letters are in them, including spaces. And then also count the number of sentences by counting the periods. Obviously, that's a lower bound because you could have question marks and exclamation points too, but it's close enough, right? And so here's what this looks like. Length A. So here's a big long table for each chapter of Alice in Wonderland. Apparently the first chapter is this many characters long, 11,000-ish. And there's 44 periods, so 44-ish sentences. Interesting. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, but that's kind of cool. Same for Pride and Prejudice. I think that's not a children's book, right? So we got some longer and shorter chapters. Depends on the author, right? So sometimes there's a lot of sentences, a lot of periods, and not a lot of, like, maybe this is a bunch of dialogue. I don't know. But you can think about it that way, right? You can analyze this and like make inferences, even though you haven't actually read the stuff. You're just looking at numbers. That's pretty cool. All right. So what I like to do is I like to make what's called a scatter plot. I like to plot, like this can be one axis, the length can be one axis, the number of periods can be the other axis. I think I'll do it periods for the X, character length for the Y. And so that's what this looks like. Boop. And so where the blue dots are Alice in Wonderland chapters, it's not in order anymore. It's just like there were, apparently for this chapter, there were like 60-ish periods and 9,000-ish characters, like for whatever chapter number that was. All right, so Alice in Wonderland's decently the same amount usually. And then Pride and Prejudice is all over the place. Some of them are long, but there's more periods because it's longer, right? So that's kind of interesting. What can we say from this graph? Like this is like periods versus number of characters. Can we say anything? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there's more. Probably if there's dialogue, it's shorter sentences, and so maybe we're down here, something like that. How many chapters are like that? Yeah, cool. What about the relation between periods and characters? Do we see any kind of relation between them? Definitely. Here, let me put this picture somewhere. Yeah, it's definitely, we're getting up to be up there, and it can be fancier, flowery words and things. But I think it can tell us something about the average number of words in a sentence. Yeah, that's my next question for you to think about. Because, oh man, I copied one thing and it lost the other. I paste you. Look at what I can maybe do. Do we see that regardless of like how long the chapter was or the number of periods, do we see that there's a trend? They're kind of close to that line, whatever that line is, yeah? And so let me try and draw it better. I think PowerPoint can help me here. So if I want to make a little line, I press the shift, or I think I can just hold it. Something like, yeah, there we go, cool. I guess that's what I'm stuck at. That's kind of nice, right? It's kind of cutting it off. More or less, that's what it's going through. So like, no matter the chapter, no matter the length of the chapter and the number of periods, something like that. No matter the length of the chapter, the number of periods is kind of relative to the length. Does that make sense? Like the slope is the same. That's kind of cool. And so that can kind of tell us about like what is the average number of words in a given sentence in literature, in real life. What are our thoughts? What's a good number? Can we read this slope and say something? Because we want to kind of divide, right? How do you get the slope? It's going to divide the rise by the rin. So like, I think if we look at 100, that's kind of useful, right? 100, like it's like between here and here. When it's 100, it's like it's between like 9,000 over 100 and like 14,000 over 100. Does that make sense? Something like that. So as a lower bound, or like this upper bound, 140-ish, that's what, 1,400 over, like as an upper bound there, over 50, or sorry, not 50, over 100 over the run. That's saying, I don't know, 140 characters at most per sentence.
Okay.
No, yeah, we were counting the characters the whole time. The characters the whole time.
The question was what's a good number for the average number of words?
Oh, sorry.
So I was looking for the words instead of the characters.
Oh man, yeah. Sorry, my bad.
A lot of words.
No, I meant characters. Excuse me. Getting ahead of myself. But yeah, that's telling you how many characters that you could find in a sentence. Does that make sense? So there's about 140 max down to like, yeah, 100 is even 90 max. Have we seen this number before? It's time for a history lesson, I guess. This is part of the book. You'll read about this too, but Twitter. Twitter's original character limit was exactly 140. They're like, on average, it's probably going to be the size of the sentences that people should write. If it's bigger than that, they better make 2 tweets or something. And then also the character limit of SMS messages. So like, you have an iPhone, it's the green bubbles, right? That's hard coded to 160. So like they give you a little extra room there. But like maybe somebody one day when they were making up these limits, they did this kind of analysis. Like, all right, what can I expect on average? Cool, huh? So yeah, sorry, I said words instead of characters. I was easy typo to make, I guess. But yeah, we're learning things. Learning things about data, and that's data science in a nutshell. Are there any questions about any of that? So of course I'll give this all to you, but what I'd like to do now is, we had like hour and 25 minutes of lecture. We still have more time before class ends. What I'd like to do is, first, we should have a break, right? Usually from now on, it's just going to be like, whenever the lecture is over, I'll give you guys a break, and you can take it, like you can have your break whenever you want it. I'll release something, and then like it'll be, you can take your break whenever you'd like. But at least for now, for the first day, let's all take a 10-minute break, and we'll come back at, I don't know, 4:36, and then we'll continue with lab stuff where I'll teach you how to like install Jupyter Lab on these computers, so that like it'll be similar to how you do it on your home computer, or if you've brought your laptop, I can help you with that. And then I'll show you like the first assignment and how to submit it. Okay. So yeah, come back please at 4:36, and we'll talk about that stuff. Unpause the video. So we're on the download page for Jupyter Lab desktop. It's a little out of date. It's fine for this class. All right. You want to go to Setup Windows if you're using these big computers or you have a Windows machine. If you're on a Mac, you have to know what kind of Mac you have. Do you have an older Mac with an Intel processor? Do you have a newer Mac with the fancy Mac Apple Silicon stuff processor? That depends. If it's Apple Silicon, it's ARM64. If it's Intel, it's x64. All right, so let me know if you have any, if you can't figure out which one you have, I can help you. But if you're on Windows, it's all the same. It's this one. All right, so you're gonna download it and click it to install it, and let's all get to that. All right, let me know if you're having any trouble with that, because then the next step is to download this little, it's called a notebook file. These are little notebooks. You'll download this setup file, and I can walk you through that as well. Okay, so let's all get it installed. Let's make sure it all gets installed properly. And then I'll walk you through this setup file, and that's where potentially Mac users might have an issue, sadly. And I can help with that issue. Yeah, I'll be here while you try that, and then I'll show you some more stuff once we're there. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, same playing field. There's other ways to do it if you hate this. I want to tell you about them right now. Question? Yeah. Okay, yeah, so you want one of these setup files. Can you go to, I assume, how new is this? Okay, yeah, so M1 means it's Apple Silicon, so you want ARM system. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, it depends on your Mac. So can you go to the Apple menu, go to About This Mac, see what kind of processor you have? Okay, you have the Intel processor. So you want the setup macOS X64. That shouldn't happen. Okay, you mind if I use the mouse for a second? Why is it wonky? It says like they changed things. Oh, you're logged in as like a student. I don't know how that works. Maybe. Oh, I wonder if they've like taken away like so it used to be like a guest account that automatically logs you in on those machines. I wonder if they got rid of that. Like that. They
No,
did.
you're doing the same thing. The login that comes now.
So that means you can't install anything. No. I'm so sorry. Okay, never mind. Okay. You have to use the website. In that case, those of you on a machine and you can't install something, you also can't install it. Man, they really changed everything. I'll give you some other options right now. I'm trying to answer this question.
I think I installed it.
Right. Yeah, you just want to run all those cells on the site, press the play button until it gets all the instructions.
Okay.
But there might be an issue on a Mac, and I'll help with that. So that makes me so sad. I did ask them to install it on these machines. I don't know when that's going to happen, but in the meantime, all right. So let me check my own computer. There are a couple ways to go about solving this. If you want like longer access, like first of all, this link works temporarily, right? Go here, it'll give you the stuff. And by the way, when you go here, you can start dragging in your own files. As long as you never close this tab, like you're good for a while, maybe like an hour or so. I don't know, as long as you have internet connected. But like, this is one option. You use this link and like gives you temporary access to this. There's a little files pane where you can legitimately add your own files to here. You can drag them in from your computer. So if you want to work on a lab or homework really quick, you can drag it into here. Does that make sense? Though, you have to be very careful. You have to like download it back, file download, before you close this tab, because then it all goes away. So you have to be careful about that. There are other ways to do it where you don't have to deal with that. And, oh man, and do I have to go to this one? There are a few options. If you want a web-based way to have Jupyter notebooks, I think you can probably use your Google account. There's Google, it's called Google Colab. That's one. You can make your own notebooks there. I'm not sure how easy it is to get all the stuff that we need for this class installed. I can help you with that if you want to do it this way. You can go to Google Colab and make individual notebooks. New notebook. And that is just saved to your Google account, never goes away. You can drag in assignments from this class if you need to. There's also, it's called Anaconda. Anaconda.com. You can make a web account here, and I think they give you like free stuff as a student or something. You can sign in, and you can do kind of the same thing as this, where you have a little bit more control over the versions of the software that you install. And so this one might be the way to go if you want to do it on the internet. It's called Anaconda. You'll sign in. Can I sign in and show that to you? I just don't know what my account is. Sure. Let me attempt to sign in. I don't know what's about to happen. I don't know my password. Give me a second. I have it saved over here. Okay. Dun 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 dun. That's me. I don't want any of that. Of course, I have to accept that. Skip. Dun, dun, dun. So like this is another website where you can have like web hosted stuff, and they let it stay in here. You'd be like, Jupyter. I would like a new Jupyter notebook, and it's gonna open stuff for you. All right, so there are ways to do it on the web. You'll have to create an account on either this Anaconda website or Google Colab. If you already have a Google account, that might work. Okay, but highly encourage you to install the actual program on your own computers in the meantime. Okay, so with that, I think, yeah, once you get it some way installed, or you click the link down here and you have your little temporary thing, I want to teach you how to like get it ready to do assignments. All right. If you have to click this link every time to do something, or if like you open up a new notebook every time, you may have to keep on rerunning the first part of this setup file. All right, because that's going to install the stuff we need for this particular class. All right, that's not installed by default in just everybody's notebooks. So if you download this file and you open it, save, and you open it, I guess I already downloaded it once. I'm going to delete the new copy. You can just, usually it's just, you can just double click it and it'll open in the right program. But it's this one. And you just want to run all the cells. All right, I've made it easy. So keep clicking the play button. This is the actual code cell though. You'll click this one and that's going to install, like if you ever have to redo this or you do it on the internet and like a different one, this is what you copy and paste in. Every other cell is just like checking to make sure this works, but like this is installing the right versions of all the stuff we need for this semester. Okay, so that's the one you'll click, and it takes a while because it has to download the stuff, and so it will produce output eventually, and it's going to produce a lot of output. All right, so just wait for it to complete and show you a number here. Once it shows you a number, that means it's done the thing. When it shows a star, that means it's still thinking about it, still working on it. Okay, so you're going to download the setup file, open it in the Jupyter Lab desktop program, and or wherever you just made a new thing. I think I try to do it here. So like I would recommend probably Anaconda because it lets you do it this way and like, lets you install your own stuff. So I think I try to do it here. Whee, why did I? Almost tried it. But there's ways to like get the right version installed on this one at least. I'm not so sure about Google Colab. We can work on it together if you want. But yeah, that's what has to happen. Like you click this, play on this at least, or shift enter. It will install the right versions of all the stuff we need for the class. And then the last one, this last code cell, you can click play on that just to make sure everything works, that it all happened. And it just makes this pretty graph to confirm that everything is happy. So yeah, can we all get to this pretty graph some way, somehow? If you need to, you can just practice with this link for now. But you're able to drag, like once you go there, you can legitimately drag files and data sets as well, if you got to work on them, into this little temporary place. So that was my downloads folder. And let me just show you how to do that if you ever need to. At least for this one, like I already gave you that first bit that does the right thing. Like I already installed stuff for you, but if you ever need to do that yourself, like you can drag in your file. Again, this is all temporary for this one. Like you can go to that new file that you dragged in and run all the stuff all over again. It's like play, it's happy, stuff like that. Okay? That's the answer. So you just want to run all those things and get some output. And I think what I should have done when I made this file is I should have cleared it all for you. So that's my bad. Let me clear all those cells and re-upload it. How do I clear? Clear cell output. Clear cell output. Maybe this is the file that I should have given you. Here, I'll upload it back. Boop. So now you get to make the graphs and things. If you re-download it, it's the blank file now without any of this extra output stuff. Sorry about that. But like this is the one you want to run. You want to make sure it runs properly. And then hopefully you can rerun this one and it will remake that pretty graph. That's the goal at least. Yeah, so one way or another, I'd like you guys to get there just so that you know the process, all right? And come around and help. Yeah, you might want to re-download the setup file. Fix it. Well, there's a what? Oh, under those circular things. Just keep it open. Other than that, some students like to sit like close to the wall because that's where the actual plugs are. But you can use those as well. Either way. Are we all able to get the setup file and get it open next? Make sure to run those cells yourself. Make sure they do the same thing if you download the old version where it already had the stuff. Yeah, just let me know if you have any questions about that. I think that's all that I wanted to show you. Let me just say the rest of the stuff I want to say and let you play around with it in class. All right. So yeah, once you do all that, like you're set. Let me just show you the last things that I want to tell you about for the class itself. Just kind of like the setup. So, okay, I'm going to release two things right now. I'm going to release it's homework number 1 and lab number 1. And you can look at them and I'll show you how to like get them and try them out. But we're not finished talking about the stuff that you need to know to do them. All right. I think if you read the chapters of the textbook and you look at the stuff, it will walk you through what to do. But I'm just going to give them to you. So homework 1, lab 1. So on Canvas, at the bottom of everything, you should now see a homeworks module and a labs module. All right, so I've given you homework 1 and I've given you lab 1. There is no due date yet. I'm not going to set a due date until I'm finished teaching you all the things that are in those assignments, okay? So you're welcome. But it won't take that long. Start reading the book, start doing these things. Let me check to see which one you should do first. Try the lab first, I would say. I think the lab is the one that's supposed to be finished before the homework. That's the order that Berkeley did it in, if you want to do it that way. All right, but either one I think you could start with. But I would recommend lab 1. And so like here's going to be your process whenever I give you an assignment to do. I give it to you as a zip file because there's a bunch of like, usually I'm giving you data as well to work on. I'm giving you like a blank notebook to do stuff with. So we're going to download it, the assignment. I'm going to save it. We're going to unzip it to wherever we are. I don't like the default unzipping stuff. Sure, let's just, because it makes a folder within a folder sometimes. But okay, yeah, I did it right. So what this did is it unzipped it, and we've got a few files, and we've got the main, this dot IPYNB, short for like interactive Python notebook. That's the one. That's always the extension of the things you care about in this class. So that's the actual file that you're going to load into your Jupyter notebook. So if you have it installed on your computer, you can just open this folder like this. All right. Let me show that to you. You can say file. I think new launcher may now. When you open it for the first time, Jupyter, wherever it is, like here it is, it's on my desktop. When you click it, it will ask you like, what do you want to open right now? And you can say, I'd like to open a folder, please. And then I can go to, like that's probably the easiest way. You could double click it, but then it doesn't really show you everything else that's there. If I were you, what I'd do is I'd make a folder for myself. Like this is where all my Data 8 assignments are going to go. Data 8 assignments. Your name or whatever you want to do. And you can shove whatever you just extracted into there. And like open that folder at the outer level. And now you're going to have everything in that folder. And just like keep opening that folder only. Does that kind of make sense? But like open a folder, because then you'll see it over here. Like, okay, double click on lab 1 and then lab 1's notebook file. And here it is. Does that make sense? That's how you get the assignment. That's how you start working on it. And you can see on the left now that you open the folder this way. You see all the other stuff that was here. This one's just a bunch of pictures because it's going to show you those pictures down here. But there's part of the assignment. But also, sometimes you're getting data as well, and you need that data as well. You need to see it so you can double click on it, stuff like that. All right. So yeah, this will walk you through. You're going to run all these cells like this one. Otter is their grader assignment thing, grader program. So you need to run that first line. Like you're just gonna run all these cells in order. You can press play. Some of these cells are just text, like this one. You'll just walk right through it. It's called Markdown. It's pretty. But yeah, it's gonna walk you through exactly what's gonna happen for this lab. You'll learn some code that I haven't taught you yet. It will only help you to try this before I teach it, honestly. So yeah, this is about chapter 3 of the book. So you got to read up until there. And that's when I'll set a due date once I finish lecturing through chapter 3. All right, but like you go through, you do all the stuff, and then once you're ready, you're like either the due date's about to happen, and it's good enough, or you finish the whole thing, you want to submit early. You've run all the cells, and you're ready to submit. All right. So this little grader thing, it's called Otter. It just makes sure like the version that's given to you, the student, is just making sure you didn't misspell anything. It's not actually giving you a real grade. It's just checking to make sure like, oh, the answer was supposed to be a number, make sure the answer was a number. All right. It doesn't actually give you a full credit for anything. You have to submit your work to me. Okay. And the way you do that is once you're done, you get down to here, and you're just running all the cells essentially. You get to the last cell, you run it, and it exports your submission into another zip file. Okay? That's how this works. Running your submission against local test cases, blah, blah, blah. And so like, it's just making sure like, oh yeah, it expected a number, it saw a number. It's not actually telling you that you got full credit for that question. All right? That's what I just want to make sure that you see that. But, because I have like an auto grader that's going to run on the back end and make sure you got the real right answer. All right? Let's just make sure the format is correct. But once it says all this, at the very bottom, and of course it's tiny, it's like, your submission has been exported. Click here to download the zip file. You click that. It's on your computer, but it puts it on your computer somewhere else now. So I'll put it in my downloads folder. Save. And now this is what you submit. Is this one, this big long zip file. That's the thing I just downloaded. All right, does that process kind of make sense? So you're going to go through your notebook, do all the stuff. Like it's going to walk you through the assignment. And then at the very last level, the very last thing to do is you run this cell that just like run some sanity checks to export your assignment. It doesn't actually tell you that you got things right. Just make sure it was in the right format. And then it gives you the exported thing. You can submit as much as you want to my auto grader. It's just going to give you the last time you submit will give you your grade. Okay, that's your final grade on the assignment, as long as you submit before the due date at least. So you click there, you download the thing, and now it's here. It's sitting on your computer somewhere. All right, and this is what I have done for you. On the class website, let me log in as like my test student. On the class website, give me a second. Here's student view. On the class website, you have this nice link that I worked very hard on over the summer. All right, Berkeley students don't get this. There's a lot of duct tape holding this together right now. You are very welcome. All right, you have to understand. But what you'll do, this is how you submit assignments to me. All right, I'll get your latest version. It's always the last one you submit is what you get the grade on. But like this is how this works. All right, you'll select which assignment you're uploading. Like, all right, this one was lab 1. Boop, lab 01. Cool. If you mess up and you accidentally submit lab 1 to homework 1, you got to tell me. All right, I'll try to fix it. But like there. And then what you will do is, you will select your file. And so you can click browse, you can go to it in your downloads folder, wherever you just put the thing. Go there, get it there. At least on Firefox. I don't know if you can do this on, I don't use other web browsers, but you can usually drag it in. It's like, at least to somewhere. Like now it's got it, and you click upload. And in theory, it will say that, success. Let me know if it says something wrong, but I tried very hard. And so what's gonna happen is it will start grading it on the real tests. All right, the ones you're not allowed to see. And it'll give you a real grade for the assignment. Okay, so you go back to home, and it's this one, Auto Grader Grades. In a couple minutes, it takes a while, because it's like Python is a little slow, and maybe there's other students submitting. It only grades one at a time, close to the due date especially. Eventually in here, it will show you your new grade if you refresh the page after like a minute or so, okay? A minute or 2 or 3. So if it's 10 minutes have passed and it hasn't given you something yet here, and you've refreshed the page, then you should probably tell me, all right? But like here, you only have one thing because you only submitted one thing so far, but this is where you can see the output and what your actual grade is. Apparently, by doing nothing, I got 15% still. Cool. But here is like what the output is. Sorry, it's a little small. But, like here are all the questions that were like actually graded. And I guess by doing nothing, I got some partial credit grade. All right. So what your job is to get it up to 100% by the time the due date is there, and you can keep turning it in if it keeps telling you that you did something wrong. If you're not sure why you didn't get full credit, then you can ask your peers. You can talk to me, right? Publicly, privately, somehow. We'll figure it out. And eventually, I will transfer this grade to Canvas. I have to do it manually, so it's not going to happen immediately. But like, you can see your grade this way. All right. And this is what you're getting. You can keep on resubmitting up until the end of the assignment due date. And just remember that once it's after the due date, it might still show you 100, but your real grade is now 50, right? Because I gave you the half credit penalty. But you can still turn it in and learn stuff. I think that's all that I wanted to say. So that's kind of the way you'll be doing assignments in this class. You'll be dragging it into there. It'll grade, give you a grade more or less immediately if you keep refreshing the page, and you'll get to see what's going on. And hopefully you'll see that if you got something wrong, like, oh, I didn't get full credit here, you can go back and ask yourself why. And then once 30 minutes have passed and you couldn't figure it out, you can ask me, okay? Or your peers. Does that make any sense? Like, are there questions about that? So it's like, that's going to be your life as a student in this class. So not even the Berkeley students have this. I tried so hard. You can immediately see your grade, more or less. So I think that's all that I wanted to say. So yeah, I think just for the rest of the class time, I can shut up and you guys can do whatever you got to do, and like try to get the lab 1, try to get the setup thing, like get everything there and ready to go, and see if you can submit and get like the 15% credit or something. Just make sure it works as a sanity check, and I can help you if you don't want to use Jupyter Lab Desktop, or you want to try one of those other websites that I talked about. Like, I can help you with that. Like, we have about 20 minutes left, and I'm all yours. All right. But I think that's all that I really wanted to officially say for the day and have recorded. So I'll stop the recording now, and I'll be here to help.